Hey everyone, I'm your host, Courtney Marie, and thank you so much for listening today. Today, I have with me two people who are very close to my heart, my college best friends, Janaya and Chi. We all attended Georgia State University in Atlanta. Janaya graduated in spring 2020 with a BA in journalism, and Chi recently just graduated in fall 2020 with a BS in music management. And today we will be talking about all things relationships. So, welcome, ladies. How are y'all doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing? I'm ready to get talking about dating.
I'm ready. Let's go. It's going to be real juicy. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yes. So, I think this topic is really interesting for us in particular because I feel like we're all in different stages of the dating phase right now. Especially during quarantine, like it kind of forced, well, at least it forced me to like reevaluate how I wanted to go about dating. So what I wanted in a relationship, or how I maintain my happiness in a relationship. So starting with the first question, when did you all start dating or like liking boys?
So I started liking boys probably when I was 12. Because I know like in particular there was this when I went to church, there were a lot of youth around my age, or a lot of guys. So like, I started liking them and they were liking me and all that stuff, but I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16. Doesn't mean that I wasn't dibbling and dabbling trying to date somebody. Um, but I probably got my first boyfriend. I think I was 17. No, I was 16. I was 16 when I got my first boyfriend in high school.
Yeah, I would say probably around the same age as Janaya. I would say in middle school is when I started having major male celebrity crushes. I'll just say towards celebrities. So it was definitely Pleasure P, Chris Brown, not no more. But back then that was that's what got me. Like that's what took me there. And I think I would say, okay, maybe prior to that, kind of would feel something because I was the kid in the neighborhood that all the boys would come to their house and want to play. So I only played with boys when I was like a kid. So they would always come knocking my door and be like, can she come out to play? And my mom would just let it happen because it was innocent. But then I felt like towards that's when I started actually recognizing boys. I swear my first crush was a little Mexican boy. Like that's when I really started oh, I wasn't feeling insecurities back then that you go through as you progress hormonally, but that's when I started to realize we're different in a way. There's differences between us, sex wise. So I think probably around 10 to 12 was when I started recognizing the opposite sex.
Yeah, I think similar to me. I think that's just natural around middle school. I was around like seventh grade when guys actually started to notice me, I guess. Like I went to Horseman right off of 80th and Chappelle in Chicago. And, you know, people in my class, I always knew guys was around, but I never really thought too much of it until actually seventh grade, and then somebody actually approached me and I'm like, oh, I kind of like you. Like this could be a thing. But because I was always so quiet growing up and stuff, and I mean I would play outside with my friends or whatever, and guys would approach me then, but it would be like, no, whatever, like I'm really not into you or whatever. But I really ain't start like talking to guys maybe until high school, like my freshman year of high school. And then I probably got my first boyfriend when I was 17. But that's a story for another podcast. But I think that's actually kind of interesting to acknowledge that fact of when you started to like boys, because I'm in that position with my niece now. My niece is a freshman in high school, and she liking boys, and she met this boy at church, and they all thinking they cute, staying on FaceTime all night and doing literally doing stuff that we used to do growing up. And I'm just like, okay, if only you know what I know right now in this position. But it's whatever. I let her be.
No, it's definitely interesting watching like younger kids do the same thing that we were doing. Like I have two younger sisters. One is 15, the other is 14. And so, they got crushes or talking to these boys on Instagram and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, cut all that out.
You trying to
But,
shut it down.
right. But yeah, it is stuff that, I used to do when I was younger too, but I just don't want them to do the same things that I did in the same way. So I try to help them do it in a different way, like to be more, keep their innocence for longer.
I feel that. I definitely feel that. I mean, it's hard. I mean, especially when you really think you like a boy, that whole like, situation will like possibly evolve into something else. But the only thing that we can really do is just kind of help them, guide them, and let them do what they're gonna do. But and speaking of relationships, um, so how did you all typically like process breakups? Like when you were in a it don't have to be like in a relationship or how do you just process a potential separation between somebody that you've been talking to or like been around for so long?
I would say like for me, I've never really had like a breakup per se, but heartbreak can also be I don't know, like kind of like when somebody doesn't, let's say like somebody doesn't reciprocate your feelings or something like that along those lines. The way, and I've dealt with that. So the way I kind of like got through it was just like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not superwoman, not all the time. So if it happens, it's just like for some time, I'll be like, man, that don't matter. Like there's something wrong with him. But I'll have my times where it's just like for 1 to 2 days straight, it's like me just being in the dark, like, let me listen to some sad music, boo hoo, like, feeling the feels. I would feel the feels. And then, like, after that, I still go back to the whole no, there's something wrong with him. Cause I feel like with the whole heartbreak thing, as long as you have enough, like, self love, like, you'll get through any heartbreak. Because at the end of the day, you should think it's that, like, they have something to overcome mentally. It's not really like you. Like, sometimes it might not just be you unless like you cheated or something, but like a lot of times I feel like it's just good to look at it from not always like your fault. So I just feel like for me it was just being able to allow myself to go through the feelings, but then also making sure that like the self-love is intact, like it's okay, like it's not that big of a deal. You wasn't gonna marry them in the first place, like you it probably wasn't gonna last in the first place. So that's kind of how I'll be like, dude, girl, just get over it. That's how I am.
With me, like, okay, my first heartbreak was probably, uh, I think I was around like 16 with my first boyfriend. So when we first broke up, this is the first like heartbreak I've ever dealt with. So we were only dating for 2 months. Why it was such a heartbreak, I don't know. But how I dealt with it, I did like retail therapy for like a long time. I was just shopping. That's how I dealt with it. I went through all the
I agree with
emotions. I
that.
I first started shopping, and then I went through like a little depressive state, like, okay, what's wrong with me? Why did it only last 2 months? Like what is going on? But then I realized I'm only 16. So I'm not dating to marry. I don't even know him like that. So why am I even thinking so far ahead into marriage? Um, and I think with me now, like dealing with recent heartbreaks or just ending talking stages or whatever, just thinking about like, well, it's not meant to be. Don't focus too much, like you said, cheat, focus too much on what you did or like blaming yourself, but it's just not meant to be. So just praying that God will bring something.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the both of you. For me, after heartbreak, I'm listening to all the hardcore music. Like I'm in my car, like listening to Meg or whatever. And I don't want no parts. Like I don't want to see you. I'm putting your story on mute. I'm like all social media stuff, like I'm if I gotta block you, block your number, like I just don't want to see you. And that's just how I've coped in the past, whether it's for like maybe 2 weeks, 2 months, or until I forget and I'm thinking about, oh, I wonder what he's doing or whatever. And I like unblock you. But for me, it's just sometimes I kind of deal with it as a way of like just deleting you out my life. Depending on like how we ended, it's just I don't you don't though you don't even deserve to be in my life at that point. And to touch on like both of y'all parts, it's like Janaya said, and she you too, like sometimes we do put the pressure on ourselves, but also realizing that I always live by this and I always tell my friends too, like if it's meant to be, it will be meant to be. Yes, it hurts right now and you're going through the emotions right now, but trust me, you're gonna bounce back a couple of months later. You're gonna think like you fine or whatever. But just like in that moment, just know whatever however it ended, it's not your fault. Y'all just I mean, that's a possibility for any relationship. Yes, you see yourself being with this person for the longest times, but sometimes it doesn't end that way. And at the end of the day, two people, when you do break up, sometimes it takes for them to do their own thing and you do your own thing. And then, like I said, later on down the line, if it works, it works. But yeah, for me, I just can't. I don't want to see you. I don't want no parts, literally, and that includes on social media, my phone. I don't, no, nothing.
No, I definitely agree with that. Like, just purging you out of my system. Pictures that be in my phone, delete our thread on message, iMessage, whatever. Everything is deleted. And I think one thing I had a phase, literally, I've tried everything to, I feel like, bounce back from a heartbreak. I tried the whole, what's the saying? You gotta get under another to, have you guys ever heard that saying? It's like basically play around, keep like dating or whatever to get over the last person you were heartbroken by. So I did that, but that only leads to more heartbreak. So you have to find what works best for you and your healing. If it takes just not being alone, but like being surrounded by your friends and just like, girls' nights, all types of stuff, like just to, like she was saying, just like get your self love back.
Yeah, I didn't even notice until like you guys like said like basically like the blocking and the purging. Like I do that too, and I didn't really notice it, but I just was like I just felt like I'm a ghoster, and in general when things don't work out, I always ghost people. It don't have to be a guy. If me and a girl's friendship don't work out, I have no problem with ghosting. Like I feel like it's very healthy. Like to me, the closure thing, like I don't even really need that. Like if it don't work, I don't want to like sometimes I don't want to follow up. Like it's just like I already know. So you don't need no explanation. I just block. Like I do block a lot of people. Block is real quick. I just blocked somebody yesterday. Like and it didn't even nothing went wrong. I just block. So blocking is great. Blocking really helps. It's like I feel like I recover better after I've blocked someone because I don't have to think about ever seeing their notification ever again. So I don't have to think about it no more. Out of sight, out of mind. That is a good strategy.
I agree with you. But I don't know how I feel about you going ghost on people because when it's the other way around, I be ready to fight. Like, don't ghost me. Like, I can ghost you, but you don't ghost me at that point.
If you're important to me, you won't get ghosted. But if like I would never ghost like my close friends. If it seems like I'm ghosting y'all, something is wrong. That means I'm just having to take my time for myself to recoup. But if I ghost a guy, it's usually for the same reason. I don't want I don't want that notification. I don't. So
I feel you.
it's a little different.
I feel you.
No, I
Go ahead.
definitely agree. I'm a ghoster too. I have it bad. I have it bad. Um, Especially like if I'm not interested and I've told you, I've gave you hints to that. I gave you a couple of nods that I do not like you like that. And you're still pursuing, I have to ghost you. I have to block you. And then it's not gonna end well for you. And then I'm gonna have to see you in public and it's just gonna be a situation. I've been through those. So yeah, I'm definitely a ghoster.
But continue on the lines of dating and stuff. So dating through COVID. So that's something that's quite a challenge, I guess. I know when COVID first started, maybe 4 or 5 months in, I thought about doing it, but then it was always that skeptical thing of like, I don't know, COVID, meeting somebody new was kind of like off limits. So somebody told me in this friend group, her name starts with Janaya, that I should do dating apps. So I tried it, but I'm gonna say my experience for last. But how do y'all feel about like dating apps in general, especially during the times during COVID?
Well, I'm an advocate. I love dating apps. I got put onto it like probably spring of last year, and I went on a few dates, probably like four in total. But this was not during COVID. So that's where I already like fell in love with dating apps. Just the idea of just meeting someone new, you like don't really know that much about them. And I like to do adventurous dates. So something like let's go to go-kart racing. Let's just do something activity based. So once COVID hit, what was I do? No, I wasn't even dating. I wasn't even dating on dating apps. I was just on Instagram, just like sliding people's DMs. And yeah, I found my person through Instagram, and that's been fun. So we've been. I would go up to see him, and or he would come down and see me. So I don't know. I like the idea of dating apps, just meeting someone new, just being spontaneous.
Um, so for me and dating apps, I'll be honest, y'all. I just feel like the dating world for me, there's a blockage. I don't know what it is, but there's a blockage. So I've tried dating apps and I still have like one downloaded on my phone, but it's just like something, it's always something. Like, with the whole, once you fill out your profile and stuff and then like give you suggestions and it really be taking a shot, like I feel like the suggestions be taking a shot. And I just be like, but why? Like maybe it's the stuff that I said I'm interested in. Like I was on OK Cupid not too long ago, and I remember I don't even know why I did that because I didn't know what the demographic was on there. But we're not gonna talk about that. But I put on my profile, and I was being honest. Everybody knows I like cartoons, anime, music stuff. So when I put that on my profile, I thought, oh, I was gonna get other like people just like me that we could talk about like some quirky like stuff. And then I see the suggestions and I'm like, is this what the people who are into the stuff that I like look like? And I really don't want to go into specifics that I don't want anybody to be offended, but it's just like how I was feeling. So I was like, okay, let me take a break on that. But I do wish that I had like more of like the confidence, like Janai was saying, like happening, like sliding in people's DMs. Like for me, I don't know. I think one of the blockages is like sometimes you just like you expect people to come to you. And so when you do try dating apps where you have to kind of like put yourself like what does Bumble do it like where you have to be the person, it's like a whole different type of like what is it called? I don't even know what the word is. It's kind of like what is the word? You're just really open. Like you could get turned down and all that type of stuff. But I don't know. To get back to like the subject, like dating apps for me, it's like a hit or miss. Like sometimes I'll see somebody that, oh, they're attractive, but it never really got that far. Maybe I'm just not using it correctly. So I don't know. Like I still got some downloaded.
So for me, let me start off with this. I was in a relationship for like 2.5 years, basically all of my college career. Um, so I feel like I'm like 42 and I just get like a divorce or something. Now I don't know how to talk to people because I've been in a relationship for so long. But I find them extremely weird. I don't know. For me, I just think I like that person, the person like context, and I guess that comes later once you meet the person. But and it also could be like the people that I've talked to in the past. I've known them. I've known them for like extended period of time. So I don't know if that's like what I'm used to. Like I feel like I have to talk to somebody that I've known for like, a minute or I've been around you and like I know how you are. Um But I don't know. Like I forgot what app I was using. It wasn't Bumble. It was some app I was using.
Hinge. It was Hinge.
Hinge. Thank you. Janaya will know. It
That's
was
the one I
Hinge.
was on.
So but I don't know, it's like you'll see people that you already know, and then it's like, oh, some people like, I don't know, like they'll like my picture, like heart, like whatever I was into. I don't know. I sound like I'm so old, but I just never responded because maybe then again I wasn't ready for like that kind of experience. That's something that I was thinking about, like in the back of my head. Maybe I just wasn't, in that mindset to continue on with like, the dating apps because it was kind of like new to me and it was like more recent.
I will say we were speaking about this previously, and I will say like because dating apps reminded me of like how people like places in Atlanta might like host like mixers for people to like actually get to know each other and stuff. And I feel like the dating apps have opened my eyes to being now I feel like I'm open to like face to face mixers because when you think about it, dating apps are kind of like it's just when people go to the same platform or place that all know that they want to hook up or have a short term or long term. So I'm like, okay, if I can open up a dating app, it might not have worked, but I feel like I'm comfortable with going to like um mixers. Like you see it on I think Insecure had one episode like where they just go to, to meet people. And I don't think I feel like if I came with like maybe one or two like girlfriends, I feel like I could do it. Like it might be really cute. Like that I feel like is your own like um face to face like swipe or like kind of. So I think I could do that. But dating apps, I'll try one more time. After that, it is what it is.
No, I feel you. I think I'm not opposed to it. I'll definitely give it another try, definitely because I'm in a different mind space than what I was in before. But I don't know. I do value that person to person, like contact, just being around you a couple of times, seeing how. Because for me too, I'm an observer. So I don't know if it's like a Libra thing, but like anybody that I'm around, I like to sit back and like actually see how like you move around. Like if I even want to be like your friend or something like that, or see the way that you act. Um, so I guess that's kind of like an important thing to me. So, and I can't really tell that just from like looking at pictures and like some like prompts that you filled in. Like, so I don't know. That's just my take on it.
No, I definitely agree. Like I don't think that dating apps are for everybody. Like I think it's definitely for like a specific type of person. Like I don't know, I'm very spontaneous. Like I like to just meet random people and then I can click with that person or I can see if I don't like that person. I went on one date from Hinge, the dating app, and the guy was cool and everything. And mind you, that was a spontaneous thing. Like he liked my picture on Wednesday and we were going out that same night. So it was very spontaneous, very risky. And I think that's what it is. It's for the risky people because I think I was taking a lot of risk. And I think I've grown from that. Like I wouldn't get back on a dating app anymore because I had that time of that. Like I had my risky, spontaneous, living life on the edge moment. I'm kind of over it now. So it's it's definitely for a specific time in your life and for a specific purpose. It's not. I don't think it's for like the long lasting things. It's just for a spontaneous, maybe hookup, maybe just trying to meet people to get comfortable with dating again.
So going into you talk about like being risky and more spontaneous. So let's talk about Sierra's prayer versus Lori's prayer. So for anybody who doesn't know, on social media, people have been talking about Sierra's prayer versus Lori's prayer. So Sierra's prayer is basically for we're talking about Sierra, the artist. She's married to Russell, and her prayer is just basically monogamy. Like she's with this person who she loves, who cherishes her, who treats her like the world, and he got money. Like Sierra got money too, but he got money. So, but then versus Lori Harvey, where this girl, I think she our age, I think she just turned like 24, and she living her best life, man. Every time she with somebody new, and it's not like to be like, oh, she this type of girl, but I love to see it. Like she dating different men right now. She's with Michael B. Jordan, and they got cute pet names, Nugget and Turtle. So like. So what do y'all think about that? Which one would y'all choose? Sierra's prayer or Lori's prayer?
I'm gonna be honest. I know me to the core, and what has caused me problems in dating already is the fact that I know I want my Sierra prayer to be answered, but I don't want to experience FOMO. Like I don't want to like feel like I'm missing out. So I kind of feel like I do want to experience Lori Harvey's lifestyle. Like when I say lifestyle, as if like she's just out here having sex. No, I mean like I do want to like taste different flavors. But at the end of the day, the goal is to get to Sierra's point. Like that's the goal. But there should be some type of fun into it. I think it depends on like how you feel towards dating. Like sometimes I feel like I'm a very like this is almost like a business contract. This is very like interview, like this is what XYZ hope this is what I want from you. Like I can't really, even though we're in COVID, like people who don't have nothing going on for themselves, who have said things that are kind of like that to me, I don't even want to keep talking. I know some people are just like, but why it's not that serious? So I feel like yeah, Sierra, I'm on her. I feel like we have similar prayers, but if we being honest around our certain age and young, I feel like it's healthy to go through your Lori Harvey stage because how you really know you get the right person if you just constantly like shooting for this one, hopefully it's gonna be this one. Sometimes you just gotta have to chill, and that's what I'm learning. So
Now, I didn't exactly pray Lori's prayer, but I was living that lifestyle for a moment in my life. I wasn't with the ballers and shot callers though, which I wish I had that experience, but they were just some regulars. But I definitely had that like hot girl moment, which I think, like you said, she is healthy. Every girl around this age, 22, early 20s, whatever, needs, I feel like, have that hot girl summer, hot girl year, whatever, of just dating around. Because, like you said, like you don't know what you exactly want. You got to try different things, try different dates, try different men, whatever, to figure out who you want to pray for that Sierra's prayer. And I think because I went through that whole Lori stage, I'm definitely into that Sierra stage. Even at 22, I'm about to be 23 though, but I'm going more into that Sierra stage. Like I'm ready to just settle down. I'm tired of dating. Yeah, so found my person. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm here for Lori's prayer all the way. Point blank, period. Period. Um, like I said, like I was in a relationship for a real long time, and even before then, like the people that I've talked to, I would talk to for like a really long time, like almost over like a year at that point. So like I really ain't haven't had that chance for me to and I know this past summer had COVID not been around, it definitely would have been a hot girl summer for Court. But I don't know, I just see myself just like, just dating around, and also like during quarantine, I spent so much time being with myself, being in my thoughts, that I actually kind of like it. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, some nights, like, I'd be like, oh man, I do wish like having somebody around, like, so we can do this or we can go here, or this is a cute date place. I wish I can go there. I mean, I still can. But it was always nice to have that person, like, you can do things with. But now it's just like I'm kind of like a little over that. Like I'm 23, so I think I'll probably be in that stage maybe until I'm 25. Give me a year. Give me a year to act up for real, and I'll be good. I'll be ready to pray Sierra's prayer.
That's all you need is that one hot girl summer where you can just like live your best life, dating around, whatever, and then you'll be ready to settle down.
I think like just thinking about like what Courtney said, like being able to, really be by yourself and like really like explore yourself. For me, it's always kind of tough because I've always been, and not to say that none of us here are introverts, because knowing ourselves, I know Courtney is more on the introvert side and stuff, but for me, like, I am an extreme introvert. So a lot of times people always be like, just be comfortable with yourself, love yourself. But sometimes you can only really say that to an extent. Just because people are having problems getting into the dating world doesn't really mean that they're not already comfortable with themselves and really like inwards. I feel like I want to have a hot girl summer, but I think I might need, for me at least, I might need somebody who's on the same like wavelength because I'm already don't want to like meet too many people in the first place. So that's why I say like I know Sierra is more so where I'm geared towards, but I haven't had my hot girl summer yet. But it's so natural for me. Like I don't really know how to put myself in those positions because I just like being to myself. I like being to myself, and it's already, I feel like sometimes I could be so reclusive, so maybe I can only really give access to one person. I really don't know how that happens, but I feel like I do want to experience hot girl summer. I just don't know if it's for every personality type, especially when you haven't had like enough like dating experiences. Is it kind of like a rite of passage? Like what is it's so like it's a mystery to me. Is it a rite of passage? Do I have to go through this? Do I have to go through multiple heartbreaks? That's what I see. That's how
So
you know.
it's kind of in between. Like, I definitely agree with you where you're saying, like, it depends on like the personality and like what you're comfortable with, really. But
Mhm.
sometimes it'll probably take you to maybe be in this relationship for this certain amount of time, and then God forbid something goes wrong, you're not really too comfortable with it. Then maybe it takes you for another like long term relationship just for you to figure it out. It can look like that. Or it doesn't have to look like, oh, I'm just like, dating like maybe two or three people at one time for you to like, experience like, this quote unquote what we coined it as like, hot girl summer. It may look different for you. It may look different for some other people, but it probably most people probably do is because like they have had heartbreak and they have had tried the relationship route. And it's like, okay, cool. Like clearly this ain't working right now. This ain't where I want to be right now. So I'ma do me, like just do what I want and how I want to do it. In that point, I think if that makes sense.
No, I definitely agree. Like, it looks different for everybody. If you are not the, um, I don't know, outgoing type, then it doesn't have to be the whole dating apps. It doesn't have to be the hooking up or just dating like multiple people at the same time. It could just be like Courtney said, just dating somebody for like a short period of time and then I don't know, maybe moving on to the next. But I really don't know because I'm not that way, so I don't know how to speak on that per se. But I feel like just not even trying to follow Lori and the hot girl summer track to a T. You don't have to do exactly what she is doing or whatever. You Everything has to be tailored towards you and your personality, what you're comfortable with, how far you're trying to step outside of your comfort zone. You have to figure that out for yourself before you even try to get into those situations.
I will say, however, like taking all that into perspective, I will say if I will say like I feel like Janaya, if I were to like kind of like approach the dating world with the more open-minded mindset like you, I feel like it would help me with our like age group because I feel like guys right now, yours probably is an exception, but I want to say majority of guys with like their mindset at this age is not as intense as a lot of girls are right now. And I feel like that is probably what the roadblocks are for me, at least, because it's just like, okay, maybe I should shoot for an older guy, but that really doesn't mean much too, because I've experienced older guys who still have the same mindset of an 18-year-old. So I think that's really what like the Lori Harveys. I know we're not going by like it's specifically, but since that's like the prompt, like I feel like it's easier to ease in like that because guys are not as intense. And if they are, they're not outward about it. They're not posted, oh, I want my wife. Like I don't see that. I really don't.
And I think it goes to just shifting your mindset. Like we are young, and I feel like we just need to focus more on probably like living and just experiencing and experimenting possibly. So just focusing on that because like you said, a lot of guys that are our age are not trying to be wifed up or trying to settle down. So you that's how I feel like I moved into that stage of like, okay, well, since most guys my age aren't on that wave, let me shift my mindset and live like how they live it. I'm dating around, I'm experimenting, experiencing whatever. And then the guy that I'm dating now, he's 27, but he's been through that stage as well. So now we're both on this like, okay, well, let's focus on career. Let's focus on the next step.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with both of you all. Um, and something talking about the mindset, that's something that I'm trying to work on too. I'm trying to shift, like I said before, and I'll say it again throughout all my podcasts. I'm very a quiet person. I'm very like in my thoughts and everything, but sometimes I feel like that holds me back. So like I'm trying to be like a little bit more outgoing and like a little bit more out there now, just because I know that the way that I am is not necessarily always going to put me in new situations, if that makes sense. Like sometimes you have to put yourself out there. Sometimes you just got to be a little bit more outgoing. And so, like, I don't know. It's kind of like up in the air of which route you want to go, whether it's whether it's Sierra or Lori, but everybody has their own preference in which way they want to go. So, um, as we're wrapping up and we're talking about like your relationships and like the talking stage, so knowing what you know about yourself now, so like we went through college, we had experiences and stuff like that. Um, what's something you would want in a future relationship? Um, so I think for me, especially during this time in like quarantine, it's very important for me to have both my partner and I understand that we do not control each other's happiness. Like I can't make you happy and you can't make me happy. It's like that's something that we have to find within ourselves. Um so us having that understanding of like at the end of the day, we're together, but we're still going to do things that make us happy and we're not going to like what's the word for it? We're not going to like hide what makes us happy just to like because we're in a relationship. Um um and then also like for me knowing that sometimes people do grow apart and they want different things and then but even in that situation, if me and my partner do find ourselves like growing apart and wanting different things, but we know that we literally want to still be together, is communicating that. So I guess I'm saying communication is like a big thing that I would look for going into a relationship. And like I said, I haven't been like the most vocal person about my feelings and my opinions in a relationship, but going forward, that's something that like I need to work on. Maybe it's something I work on during my hot girl summer phase or something like that, or maybe it's something that take me a little bit more time. But I think that communication factor is definitely like a plays a big part of in relationships.
No, I definitely agree. Communication, everyone says that communication is key. Communication is key, but like you, it's so vital that like, but it's also something that you have to learn. So it's not something that you just grasp. It's not an easy concept, I don't think. At least it hasn't been for me. So that's something that I want and that I'm learning about in a relationship. So like I was talking about, I just started dating this guy. And one thing that I wanted to do just to from the beginning of our relationship, have openness for communication. So I brought this game called Convo and Chill. It's like a little card game. Love the game. It brings up, it has so many like different questions on different topics where you guys can just be open and talk about things. Um, and just lay everything out on the table. So that's something that we've been working on, just communication. And I think just openness. I know that kind of goes hand in hand, but just being open to the whole process of getting to know each other and not be so, I feel like closed minded on like, okay, well, this is how I think relationships should go. But everything has to be tailored to what you and your partner are doing and how your partner is or what you're learning about them. So communication and openness, I feel like go hand in hand, but something that I think is very necessary in a relationship that I want.
I would definitely say for me, um, with the past like talking experiences I've had, knowing what turns me off and leads to dead ends is just like I don't really care. I don't like when guys are too forward sexually. I've realized that, and I know that's where I get more so uncomfortable. Just being like the way I'm set up, it just makes me a little bit more uncomfortable, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. That's just how I am. So I feel like for me, definitely just trying to find someone who's just at the core of the relationship is a friend. Like I don't feel like we need to be talk. I'm not the most overly sexual person. Everybody's different when it comes to sexuality, right? So I feel like the things that get me in the mood are not just like directly talking about it. So I know that's something that is kind of like a turn off for me. So I just want somebody who's can also be like a friend. Like let's talk about like dumb stuff. Let's talk about like TV shows. Let's actually like have a laugh the way I can laugh with like my sister or my best friends. I think that is more so attractive, like the being able to communicate about different subjects and be like transparent. I know you can't, you sex is not something you're running away from. That's not it. But I feel like there is longevity in being able to be a friend, not just a lover. And I want that guy friend as well, who can also be a lover. But if we're not friends, I don't really even feel like why would I even want to really talk to you because we don't have anything to talk about. That's kind of how I like see it because I don't want to just always be like having innuendos thrown at me. Like not all girls are like that. Sometimes it just comes off shallow to me. So I think that's what I'll definitely look out for. Not always the physical part. Yeah.
I agree. I think some of the best relationships are based on friendship. So somebody you can be just yourself around. Like for me, I'm an extremely goofy person. Y'all have seen it. I've acted goofy around y'all. Like that the same way I can act around my friends is the same way I want to be around like, my partner. Just like love me, like for me, like it's this past this like, facade of like us dating and I'm trying to look cute every time and stuff like that. Like I think just that friendship connection, like you said, she is definitely a number one factor. Like you also want this person to be your best friend at the end of the day. Like,
I think another thing I definitely agree with like the whole being friends. I think yeah, the strongest relationships are built that way, so you can have like a solid foundation. And I think another part of like a to make a solid foundation is, or at least for me, a relationship with God. So one thing that I've definitely been like, or one thing that has been my requirement, I feel like, is you have to have a relationship with God. Because I have a relationship with God, and I know that if my partner doesn't, it might stray me away from it. Like I feel like if I have a partner, we should be growing closer to God and not us being pulled away from God. So that's something that I'm trying to learn. But then also learning that not everyone's relationship has to look like your relationship with God as well. So being open and not being judgmental to that either. So that's been something that I'm learning too, because I'm like, well, if I'm getting up at 7 a.m. and praying, why are you not getting up at 7 a.m. and praying? But he may not have that same type of relationship. So every relationship looks different with God. So just But having that as the core um, factor, yeah, is necessary to me.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like belief systems are definitely something, that can make or break relationships. It's always interesting to see different people's beliefs. I don't necessarily think in some people, it depends on how people are wired. It doesn't have to like break it, but it depends on how important it is too. And another thing I would say, like, I know this isn't really like have to do with religion, but basically like having a more dynamic relationship outside of just the love, but also like for me, somebody that I feel like, I know this might not sound good, but I almost want to feel like I'm in some sort of competition with you career wise. I want to feel like you are pushing me to do better. Like, I hope that you're established, but I want that to make me feel like, okay, yeah, I want to make a name for myself. Like, I want us both to feel like career is one of like the top things that we need to worry about. Cause I want to I want to be a power couple when it like career. I really do. Like, I want to build like an empire. I want our house to be huge. That's just kind of like, and I know all these things come with God too, and praying and working, but I would hope that the person that I'm with also has huge ambitions. Like, I've definitely talked to guys who are just like, you want to talk about school or work, and they just kind of like don't have nothing to say. So like, what, you thought you was gonna live in your mama's house forever? That don't work for me. So yeah, definitely friendship, religion, career. Big factors.
No, I definitely agree with both of you. God, for sure. I grew up in a church, and just acknowledging the fact that anything that we do, God comes first. Um, and to hit on your point, Chi, definitely those goals. I'm such a goal oriented person. And regardless, I'm finding this about myself. I like money. I like nice things. I like to have money. I like to work, you know? So if you can't match that energy from off that, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This was nice, but and maybe I might be wrong. It might eventually come down later on the line. But if this comes to the point where I'm waiting too long and I'm like, okay, so when is gonna happen? Like, like I'm not here for it at all.
We don't want to Easter moment. We don't want to Easter moment, but at the same time, it's like the career thing. Some people will look at you like, what about the love? But in Issa's situation, she did wait, and then when she decided to step out, all of a sudden God wants to get a job, great paying job. Sometimes it's like, dang, because I've seen people build great relationships off of like knowing that the person had potential, and then all of a sudden they just blossomed and you was their rider. But am I willing to be a writer? I don't really know. I don't really think so. Like, we built different, you know? So I don't know.
Yeah, you at least got to show those characteristics from the jump. You can't like I wouldn't be able to be with someone who wasn't ambitious because I am. So if I'm out here grinding every day, what you doing? Like I wouldn't be able to I don't know, wait. Like I just because if I'm out here doing this and I'm trying to push you to do these same things and you're just not budging, then it just wouldn't work out. And then that leads to ghosting. So it will be a thing and don't, don't make it a thing.
It's like a revolving, like, little thing that goes on. Like, if you don't, this will happen eventually. No, I get it. But thank you, ladies, so much for coming on to my podcast. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, eventually, you all will see us either having a hot girl summer, booed up, whatever, whichever way 2021 decides to take us.
So there you have it. To anyone trying to figure out their dating issues and their relationships, trust me, you are not alone in the process, clearly. Whether you are dating or have been in a long relationship, I think the most important thing is to evaluate what you want out of the relationship and stick just to that. Thanks to everyone for listening, and be sure to tune in to my next podcast episode. If you haven't already, click the follow button to receive updates and notifications about new episodes of the See No Podcast. And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the See No Podcast. Thanks again, y'all. Bye.